if anybody has a doubt of how this alliance is good for our industry, you have a Venezuelan, a Brazilian, and an Argentinian. So we're truly covering from the Caribbean Sea to the Patagonia, the entire of South America, in an alliance to drive insurance forward. So if that's not a good example of a good alliance, I don't know what it is. So I'm Hilario Itriago. I am originally from a company whose logo is really, really tiny down there, Bullfrog Ventures. That's a company that I founded 2 years ago, but that I've saved the news to make an announcement in this great event that it's been acquired by a company called Rocker. Rocker is a Miami-based technology services company and venture builder, and we've decided to create a new division called Rocker Insurtech. And that's important because 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, in 2016, when I originally went to ITC in Vegas, I remember that half of the room in Las Vegas was talking about Insurtech, and the other half of the room didn't understand a word of what they were saying, right? But that was the time when we didn't meet ourselves there, but we were there. We realized insurance was going to change. And if you have listened today and yesterday to Jonathan Kalman and all of the other presenters from Marsh, technology is changing the world. It's making it smaller, it's making it easier to do business, and business has truly become the greatest change agent for our economies worldwide. And so that's why Rocker Insurtech for us makes sense, and that's why the topic of this conversation is important, which is how do we accelerate the change of insurance into this new technology-based world, right? There's an important topic around that, which is why Insurtech is relevant. Well, if we all live in this digital world where our mobile devices hold all the information we need, where all the shopping we do more and more on our mobile devices, where digital is the platform that everybody uses, insurance needs to operate in the same way. It cannot be stayed in the paper-based, old-fashioned. Now, but there's an important component of that, which is we need to make insurance a more relevant part of our economies. If you look at insurance penetration by GDP in any of our economies in Latin America, we barely pass a little bit more than 3% penetration. And that's Chile, which is a small country. But if you look at Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, the larger economies, the opportunity for us to take Insurtech and the concept of digital insurance for greater social good, it's enormous. If I give you just a simple example around cyber, cyber is really one of those new components in insurance that it's truly going to drive the on-demand digital solution for anybody across any economy and any social level. Because anybody with a mobile device, regardless of the social level, in any part of the world, will need cyber coverage. And if that is not an exponential growth of our insurance industry, I don't know what it is. When we talk about Rocker Insurtech and when we talk about accelerating the insurance industry into the digital age, we talk about having expertise. This is an industry that requires expertise. You know, people who work in the insurance industry are knowledgeable people that understand that this is a very complex ecosystem made out of brokers, insurers, reinsurers, loss adjusters. You know, it's a very large ecosystem that requires all those parties to work together. And so expertise becomes a key component of that acceleration path into the future of insurance. The other component that's really important is strategic alliances, right? We were talking about making this, and Gustavo has been saying that for the last day and a half. The more we collaborate with each other, the more and greater chances we have to really make this business greater than what we've actually seen it so far. Because the moment I can work with a company like Frizz to operate in a bank assurance deal where I bring the expertise on the insurance part, they bring the expertise on the technology, and the bank becomes the channel, everybody wins. And so that strategic alliance is tremendous. Not to go back to the whole point of this alliance in itself right now. And then the other component that's important is to know which solutions to choose. Like in any part of the world, technology is so vast and open that anybody can do it. Anybody can have a technology solution. But the reality is that the more those technologies are more sophisticated, the better the products and services that we put out in the market are. And the better those products and services are, the faster people are going to start consuming insurance in non-traditional ways that we've done it so far. So when I say alliance, I say we all have to work together to understand when these key components that our industry requires, which ones are we actually going to put together to make sure that they operate in the right way. So when you heard today and yesterday about artificial intelligence, when you heard about Internet of Things, when you heard about claims management, right? I'll give you a very simple example. The moment you talk about an Internet of Things for water detection that is going to improve the claims process on the property market, you need to have knowledge about the property market on the insurance side. You need to have the right technology with the sensors that do preventive management of that so that the claims handling becomes simpler and simpler. One of the most important investors in IoT technology for claims mitigation, it's Crawford. Crawford is, as you know, an international loss adjuster. Their business is claims. These are the guys that when there's a claim, they get happy, right? And these guys are the ones that are investing the most on preventing claims on water damage, fire, you name it. And that's an important thing because that's truly moving the industry to this world where we say it's preventive and predictive. And the more it's preventive and predictive, the more we can say an insurance product can truly be on demand. If the product is not intelligent enough, we can make it on demand. It's as if I told you that you can subscribe to Netflix, but you have to sign a paper contract. Nobody's going to do it. So our insurance product needs to become digital, mobile, easy to buy, easy to cancel, and it needs to help us not have claims, or at least prevent as much as we can. And why do we need to bet on that? We need to bet on that because the insurance industry, different to the financial industry, Insurtechs live in this ecosystem that it's more collaborative, right? Reinsurers needs to work with insurers and vice versa. Claims adjusters needs to work with insurance companies. Brokers work with insurance companies. So as opposed to the fintechs who are fighting to see who wins and who dethrones the incumbents, in the Insurtech world, we all work together to make sure that we bring this industry forward in a much effective way. And the one thing I would say about Jonathan's slide this morning about the burning chair, you all remember that chair on fire this morning?
You can forget it.
That chair, it's already burned twice in my mind. The problem is that the people who have replaced the chair with another chair the same, they're really not thinking forward. You cannot think that you're going to put together a solution on a digital claims handling, but you still sell a policy on paper. That's replacing the burned chair with another chair, right? So you need to look at the entire process and make sure there's a sense of urgency here whereby we need to move forward and we need to move forward fast. Otherwise, someone else is going to do it and we're all going to lose. So just to give you an example as to how we work, and I think this is the 1 minute commercial on ourselves. When we say an ecosystem needs to be developed, we really mean it. The only technology services company out there that can go to incumbents, that can go to entrepreneurs, that can go to investors and say, Okay, have you got capital, and you'll hear more about that from Eduardo in a minute. Have you got capital to build your company? Yes, okay, we will build it with you. And we will build it so much with you that we're gonna take equity on your company because we believe in it. And by having equity in it, we're gonna help you accelerate the rate at which your company is gonna be successful. And the moment that growth accelerates, we're gonna call Jonathan Kalman from EOS Venture Capital to say, now we want Series A and Series B funding because we really have a rocket here to go for. And that's the way all of you, whether you work for a big insurance company, a big broker, a small broker, a loss adjuster, it doesn't matter. If you want to innovate and you want Insurtech to come into the fold, you need to work with people who are ready to invest with you in the solutions you want to bring into the market. If all you're going to invest is in a 120-page PowerPoint document, you're lost. And let's do an exercise. Everybody in this table, raise your hand if you believe in digital and Insurtech going forward. Okay, you're gonna leave, no, hang on. You're gonna leave your hand up if you are doing digital or some kind of Insurtech project now. Leave it up if you're working on something like that. Okay, you're gonna leave it up now if those projects are delivering results in weeks, not months. 1, 2, 3, right? So that is why this conversation is important. We need to build an ecosystem that drives the accelerated framework of Insurtech so that our industry can grow 3-fold, 4-fold, 10-fold in an exponential manner so that in 10 years from now, the penetration of insurance by GDP in any of our emerging economies is 10% and not 2%. So I will leave you with that thought, and I think Eduardo has some interesting things to talk to you about on the investment front.